Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk Tech Culture. So, on today's episode, we're going to be building a simple web search AI agent using Google Gemini's LLM as its foundational model. Now, in order for this build to be a success, we need two API keys, and then we need a Google search engine ID. Now let's get those keys ready and then we can dive into our build. And our build is not going to have a UI, guys. Our build is just going to be purely a backend Python script, and then we'll run our script in the terminal. In subsequent videos, I'm going to show you how we will integrate a front end to make our build more beautiful. But for now, that's what we're going to be doing. So first of all, we're going to be navigating into our first API key that we're trying to get is the Google Search API key. So we're going to use this link to navigate to our Google Cloud Console. And here we'll create a project in order to do that. As you can see, I already have an existing project. So I'm going to change this account in order to have an account where I can have, but you guys will not see this particular view. You're going to see this particular view. And you can see at the top here, it says start your free trial with a $300 credits. Don't worry, you won't be charged if you run out of credits. So this is entirely free for a free trial. So with this, it says select a project. We don't have a project. So what are we going to do? We're going to create a new project in order to build this particular API key. You can give it any project name you want. Just call it the web search agent. And then I'm going to click on organization, no organization. We just click on create, and then our web search, it's creating our projects for us. This is very key because we'll be using this project to get the other keys. Now that we have it, we can select our web search agent as our project. Then we're going to go into API and services. Let's avoid this quick access because I want you guys to see something more clearly. So here in the API and services, we're going to click on library. Now inside our library, we're going to create credentials. But first of all, we're going to look for custom search API. It should show us. No, that's a typo there. Thank you. So now we have this because what we're creating is a Google Search API key. So we need to enable this in order to create a custom search API key. Click on enable. Yeah, it's taking some time to enable. After this enable, we're going to go into API and services again to get the credentials. So here we already have it credentials. We click on under API and services, we click on credentials. And what do? We create credentials. We have nothing here. So we click on create credentials. We want an API key. It's generating an API key for us. And with this API key, we're going to copy it. This is very important because you just select this, click copied, you close, you can show the key, and then you save the copied key in a text editor somewhere because we'll be using it in our build, guys. Because this will be our Google Search API key, and that will be for this particular API. Now, the next one we'll be getting is our Google Search Engine ID. Now, for our Google Search Custom Search Engine ID, we're first going to navigate into Google Custom Search Engine. Pause the video to copy this URL so you can navigate to that. I'm going to change this particular account to use the accounts that we were using. If my memory serves me correct. Yeah, this is the account that we were using. So with this, we're going to click on add to create a custom search engine. We need to enter a name. So here we're going to call it Hello Search AI agent. You can give it any name you want. And here we're going to select search the entire web. That is the purpose of our build. Click on save search to avoid explicit content being part of your search results. Click on I'm not a robot, and then you click on the button create. So this is going to create our search engine. As you can see, it's been created. You can preview it to see how it looks like. And here you can ask questions to it. Now we're going to go back to our engines and select Hello Search AI Agent. I see we have our name here. And then you can see here the save search is checked, the search entire web. If you want an image search, you can check this, but for this build, we're not doing that. Now, what we need in this whole build is this particular ID. So you copy this and then you save it elsewhere to be used in the build. So that is done. So our next API key we'll be needing our Gemini API key. So we're going to be going into our Google, this particular link. Navigate to this link. You can pause the video and then see this. Let me change this account, switch account so we can get to the beginning view of what we're doing. Because I want you guys to see it from the beginning. Now, I switched the account and this is what I have in my Google AI Studio. Yeah, I consent to it. I don't want to receive any emails from you guys. So I'll just click on accept. And I'm here. Now, this particular interface is very important because here it shows you the particular model that you can use, you have access to, that we'll be using in our build. Don't use any other Gemini AI though, because the API key you generate here will not apply to it. This is the only model that the API key you generate here can apply to. So we're going to click on create API key. As you can see, say search existing cloud project. We created this in the first one in our Google Cloud. If you remember, you will select this and then we say create API key. I don't think the project you select is relevant, but let's just to be on the safe side. So we have the same project running for both API keys. You click on copy and that is it. And then you save it. You save this in a text. As I said, we'll be using all this. So this is very, very important, guys. You save this and then we have our 3 API keys ready for our build. Then we can proceed with our build. Now, guys, let's go back into our development, our IDE to start our build. Hello, everybody. So now we have our IDE opened. So now we have our IDE open. We're using PyCharm for this particular build. Since we're dealing with Python, I prefer to use this IDE. So first we're going to create a project. You click on this. This is a community PyCharm IDE, depending on what, you can use any IDE of your choice for Python. But for this, I'm using PyCharm. So I click on that particular icon you saw. I have file. I click on file. I click on new project. And this is where I'm going to create my new project. I want to change the name. I'm going to call it AI Web Search Agent. And as you can see, I have my interpreter here. My project VENV is going to create a virtual environment for me. That's why I prefer to use PyCharm. And then I'm going to check that I wanted to create a welcome script. We're not dealing with Git today, so we're just creating a simple application. So just going to check this to leave the rest and then click on create. Yes, this window. And our project is created for us. You can see that the virtual environment is created for us. No, I'm not trying to add anything to Git. Then our welcome page that we asked it to create is created for us. So now what am I going to do? Okay, first, let's just run the script so that you can see that the Python is running well. This is not necessary. Just so that we know that this particular script is running properly. To run a Python script, I'm using Ubuntu machine. So I just have to type Python main.py, and it just says hi PyCharm, as you guys can see on the screen. So this is very simple. It shows that this particular project created is working fine. So let's go on, and then we're going to clean this all up because we don't need all this code. We're going to write our own code. But first of all, we're going to create an env file, .env file, where we're going to keep, no, I think I should have checked it. Don't ask again. Anyway, so this is where we're going to keep all the API keys that we created and store them here. So we're just going to do them step by step. So first of all, so the first one is the Google API key. I already have them. I'll just copy and paste so that our build is faster. Just gonna paste this here. Yeah, I've hidden the keys. This you can, as I already showed you how to create your keys earlier. You can do that. That's about it. So the next stage is we're going to write our code for this. First, we're going to start with our libraries that we need for this particular application. We're going to import the OS. This is a Python. It's already with Python, so we're not going to install that. Import requests. If there's anything that I'm typing here that you don't understand, all you have to do is, for example, for the OS, you hover on it, and then the intelligence of PyCharm is going to explain to you what it's doing here. It tells you that OS routine for NT, depending on what system I'm on. So it gives you all this documentation as you scroll on, just to understand what's going on here. In case I say anything. When you see this red line, it means I need to install this particular library. From typing, import list, dict, and any. Okay, import. My bad. This I'm not typing it correctly. Yeah, because it's with Python, so we don't have to install that. Import Google.generative AI as Gen AI. This we have to install from date time. Whenever you see the intelligence helping us, it means we don't have to install that because it's already installed for us. .env import load. This is what we're going to be using to load our env, our API keys in the env file. So before I proceed to starting the main component class, I'm going to try to do some installations. This seems like it's not complaining, which means that Google is probably already installed, but let's double check. So I'm going to do in installing anything in Python, we use the pip. So pip install Google.generative AI. Click on enter. If it's already installed, we will find out very soon. It's not. So it's downloading it for us, which is very good. So it's done. Probably it has some installed, some is not installed. And then we're also going to pip install. As you can see, the index in here at the bottom here, you can see it's also automatically installing stuff. Yeah. So now we're going to install our dot hello dnv dot tnv. Okay, what's it complaining about? So that's good. So when you see it like this, it means that you are good to go. Whenever you see any lines, the beauty of the lines in PyCharm, underlining the red lines and all that is just to alert you as to any missing packages that have not been installed. So now we're going to call the load.tmv. Now it's installed so you can see it in the intelligence. So we're going to call this. This means that we're loading whatever keys is installed in this particular .env file here. And then our main component, class component, is the web, we're going to call the web search agent. My bad. I guess I wasn't watching my PC. Web search agent. And this is the class, the main class, which is going to house everything within this build. There are multiple ways. You can choose to use the class definition style when doing this build. You can also go with the strictly function-based style, but I'm going with this. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions about this approach. I think this is standard. So we have the various parameters for this particular class key. Search API key. None. Search engine ID str is equal to none. And then we're going to start with what we have here step by step. So we're going to call Gen AI. So you can see, I love this intelligence about PyCharm. That's why I keep using it. It just makes it's kind of like like Visual Studio when you're doing JavaScript in Visual Studio Code. Very, very, impressive for me. So we're doing the Gen AI configuration, so as you can see, and then we're going to be doing the configurations here. Now we're saying that when the Gen AI configuration function is called, the API key, we're going to pass the Gemini API key here. So whenever this class is called here, we're going to pass the Gemini API key to this particular parameter, and then it is used here. Okay, let's keep coding. Then the self.model is where we're passing the model to this one. We'll say Gen AI dot generative model, Gemini 2.0 dot flash. This is very important, as I showed you whilst we're creating the API key. The model that the API key gave us access to, we need to use the same model. This is very, very important because your API key should correlate with the model you're working with. We're using a free API key and we're given a specific model to work with. So with this, we need to use that particular model, else we won't be getting the results that the results that we expect to get. So this is configuring for Gemini. Let me just add some comment here. So we're configuring Gemini. So you guys, not to worry, I'm going to add this code going to add a link to this code so you can, I advise that you do it by yourself and then just use the link to, cross-check anything. So the next one is I want to do a search configuration and do self.search API key is equal to search API key. These are the alternatives. These are the alternative searches. If it searches and the the AI model is not giving us, there's a failure in the AI model, it falls back using the search. So we're doing the other search configurations. Let me continue. You guys, it will all come together when we start testing. You understand it better. So search engine ID, if you guys remember, our keys when we're creating our search API key, and then we generated the Google search engine ID. This is where we'll be using them. We'll be passing all of these when we call this class so that they all make sense in the end. So search engine ID. Let me just add a print here so we know what we're doing in the terminal. So I would say that the web search AI agent has is initialized. Is initialized. So this is our first function, our init function. So we're going to define other functions for the search. So we're going to call this search web. What is search web doing is taking from the init, which is the self. We have the query that will be passing to this particular function, the num of results that we want to return from the search. Like Google, you know, when you're searching from Google, Google gives you a list of results. You can have, depending on the what you're searching for, you can have like a pagination where you move to other pages, which we rarely do. We're always stuck on the first page. So for this particular free API key, I don't want to exhaust all the calls that we have access to. So I'm only telling it that it should give us results. It should return a result from our search using just five, list only five. What do you call it? Give us a list of 5 items from the search results and not just leave it. We can leave it to give us as many, but our API key is free and we have limited, tokens to use and limited. We have to go into the documentation to see the limits. But for this particular purpose, I'm just using just five. That it should give me five results, a list of five results from the search. So this is a list. So I'm trying to tell Python that this is a list. So it should give me that. As I said, if you don't understand, if anything I'm saying you don't understand, you just hover on them and it tells you exactly what's going on. You want details, list. These are all data structures in Python. Don't worry, if you're new to Python, let me know in the comment section below if you would like a simple Python tutorial. But those who are not new, who are, let's say, developers in Python, I guess they understand. Let me know in the comment section below if the Python guys, if I'm doing something wrong. We all here to learn. So solve the search engine ID, return self dot. I want to use my Google search. I'm going to pass query. Now results. Else. So I'm saying that if my API key for my search and my engine is true, it should do this. Else, what should it do? It should simply return self dot underscore duck. Yeah, this duck go is also a search. Those of you who know about this, I'm not going to explain it too much, just so we don't waste time here. But I would be explaining them. If you have any questions about, if you're new, if you don't know about it, if you have any questions about it, I'll be explaining it in the comment section, so we can be fast with this build. The next function is the Google search. Someone will say, oh, but why am I calling it here when I'm defining it here? It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It's not, it doesn't depend on the structure of it. If I'm here, I'm saying if cell, blah, 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 return cell of the Google search, it simply goes through the code to find the function, which is defined here. That's why you realize that the yellow, whatever is under the yellow is gone because it's able to realize it. And you can see here in PyCharm, it tells me one usage. So it's able to identify that is being used here. Beautiful PyCharm. I really love this behavior of PyCharm. So I'm going to have self query. What's our query type? We want it to be a string. Num results. Results is going to be an integer, which is clearly going to give us a list. Return us a list, a dictionary list at that. String, any, could be any type we'll be getting. And as you can see, it says one usage. Now, going to go, let me close this one down since we're not here. Going to start with try. This is very, very important when you're about to hit the APIs. It's always good to have a try catch block in the case of, this is for error, in order to handle errors. Very, very, very important. So it doesn't break your whole application and you know exactly where the problem is coming from. So we have the URL. Just going to copy this and paste this for our custom search. You can pause the video and copy and type this URL. Now params for the URL. The things that we're passing into it so that we know what we're doing. What parameters are we trying to find? We're trying to find in our search. We're looking for the key of our search. Search API key to see if our search is eligible. We have an API key to do the search. CX. This is for our search engine ID. If we have a search engine ID, a valid search engine ID. Q will represent our query that will be passing to do the search. My bad. Yeah, I saw that. Okay. Then we have num for the results. So we're saying the minimum num of results that it should return. The minimum should be past minimum 10. But we're already asking it to give us 5. So we're just giving it 10 just to give more grace. So our response is equal to our request dot get URL params is equal to params. We're passing the params here, and then our response dot, it should raise for status. Our data, saying the response.json. Our results, we're going to put our results in an array. Now, here we're saying for item, we're going to be looping our data, the data that we get. So we're going to say for item in our data dot get items results dot append. So we're going through the data that we're getting from the response of this particular URL, and we want to, add it to our results folder based on this response coming from this particular API. It's like JavaScript, fetch, response in Python. This is how we do it. So we're saying that the response that we get from this particular URL call with the parameters that we pass to them, we give it to this variable called data. Now this data here, we're going to look through it. We're going to say for item in this particular data, we get items within this particular data. Is going to give us items. So we get items and then we're passing an array to it and we're saying that the result should append. This is how we want it to append. Okay. We're trying to format how we want our result to look should be. We're saying title. When you get an item which has title in it, get it like this and pass it, assign it like this. We have our snippet. What is our snippet getting? Item.get snippet. This is standard code, guys, for this type of search. Snippet. We have our link. Item.get link. We have the source, Google. And then from that, when our results, hopefully our results is full, what do? We return results for this particular Google search function. So this was going to happen when this function is called, yeah, and the API keys, the search engine, everything is good. We're going to call this particular function where we're passing the query here. Then the number of results that we wanted, we're saying that we want 5. You realize that we gave that a minimum of our results should be 10, but here we're just asking for 5. So basically it's going to go through this function, get whatever we want, and then return results, and then give it to us here when everything goes well. Else, if this doesn't go well, this, I didn't type it well. Search. No wonder. So if everything goes well for this one, we don't have to call this duck to go search. This is using our Google Search API key. Why are you complaining? Okay, I didn't type this thing well. Search API key. My bad. Okay. So if this doesn't go well, that's our API key is not functioning, our search engine is not functioning as it should. What happens? It calls this particular function, which we'll be writing soon. So now returns results. Why is it complaining? Because I have a try, I need a catch. But in Python, try catch is for JavaScript. In Python is try and then except. So I have my except, exception as E. So you see the beauty of the IntelliSense. It makes you know that there's something remaining. You need to, continue. Then it gives you that red underline. And then it pops here the red, error. So when we're done with this, it will go away. So what do we say? We're saying Google. Let me add these things I got online to make our output a bit nicer. Okay, so let's see. Google search failed. That is our exception. What if it fails? What do you do after printing? Return self dot. So if this failed, simply call the duck go function using the query that we're passing, and then the number of results we expect of it. It's complaining because I haven't defined the DuckDuckGo. Not to worry, we're just about to do that. So now that we're done, we don't have any errors. We just have complaints here saying that, I can't resolve this, but we're going to deal with that. So our next function is our DuckDuckGo search function. And you realize that the yellow is going to disappear. Can you see that? Okay. So first we have self query string num results. What is it giving us? Integer. We want it to return a list. That str string any. Very good to go. So you can see I say 2 usages because I'm using here and I'm using it here. I guess it's as good as mine. It's as good as mine. We're going to use a try. I didn't finish this. This is wrong. I need this. Yeah. Try. Then we pass our URL like we did earlier. And this is going to the DuckDuckGo website to do this particular search for us. Our params going to have for this is the only params that it needs. When you go to the DuckDuckGo website, you get to see all this, how to use these things. Format, JSON, you have no HTML, then we have skip, this any ambiguity, this big. Yeah, so this is in the docs I really don't know. Guys. So we're going to skip this big. Okay, this is one of the parameters, and then what happens? The response, just like we did earlier, by saying the request dot get, we pass the URL, the params will be params. And then our response dot raise for status. Thank you. Then we go to our data. What do? We pass our response.json. And then we have our results. We declare a variable, an empty array for where we will keep our results. Now we're going to say that if our data dot get, we want to get abstract if it's available. Abstract data if it's available. So get abstract. Our results dot append title. Get data dot get heading query snippet data dot get, it's in abstract. What are we saying? We're trimming the data that we're getting. Not to worry, guys. After this, I'll explain this better. Let's just move a little faster. Topic.get first URL. My bad. I think I'm not doing this code properly. I'm mixing the code. So we have link dot data. My bad. Data dot get abstract URL. We're not dealing with this. If abstract exists, we're saying we want to get the abstract URL. Okay, so let me break it down before we move to the next code. So here, that is saying that data.get abstract, What it's basically doing is that it's checking if the API response contains an abstract field with content. So now if it doesn't contain, it will simply continue, and then it's going to return none if there's no key like that, if it doesn't exist. But if it does exist, then it's going to go into the data and try to append whatever it gets from there. So if the field is there, if the abstract field exists, then it means that it's going to try and get the heading inside the response of this, the value of this abstract field. It's going to try and get this one abstract and abstract URL. So the title here is using the heading from Duck. This heading is from DuckDuckGo, which falls back to the original query if no heading exists. So this is, if this doesn't exist, fall back to this. Give us, the title should just be the query that I passed from here. If it checks, if it gets, if abstract exists, you pass snippets to, you pass abstract to this one, the value here, to this snippet. If it doesn't exist, then 0. If abstract URL exists, then it's going to pass the here, else it passes an empty string here. So basically for this particular one, why is it complaining? Okay, we're missing this. All this is doing, the 200 here is simply Python. It's just slicing the first 200 characters from the string that we're going to get. That's basically it. Plus it adds this dots. Let me make them 3 so it makes more sense. It just adds this dot to the snippet because we're just asking for a snippet of the abstract information whilst we're slicing. Just, we wanted to give us only 200 characters. It could be more. So we're just slicing it. If it's less, it just gives us everything. And then we add this to it to indicate that there's more info. And then with the abstract URL, we're passing it to this. That's basically it. So that's the same thing we're doing here. We're doing here in the Google search. We simply say that the data responds if it contains a field called items. In the item, if it contains a field called items, which is an array, it simply picks one item in this items array, and then it finds a field called title. If the field doesn't exist, it falls back to an empty string because we're trying to assign, we are creating objects within the results array so it can output for us. We'll see in the output how this looks like. So this is just the structure we're giving to it. Let's keep coding, guys. Let me know your questions in the comment section below if there's anything that is not clear here. Now, if this doesn't work out, so if data.get, so this is dealing with an abstract. The next one we're going to be dealing is we want to check, we want to look for the related topics within this, because DuckDuckGo is a search engine. It's going to give us a lot more information. So we're saying for topic in data.get, you want to get related topics. What are we going to do? We're going to trim using the number of results -1. So we're saying if an instance, my bad, if it's not supposed to have, if instance, the topic, you see the intelligence, it keeps giving us, as you're typing, sometimes it gives you the explanation of what you're typing. So I'm not like doing an ad for PyCharm, guys, but I think seriously it's the go-to IDE when you're doing Python development. Okay, so topics.get text. So for here, saying it basically is processing the related topics from the DuckDuckGo API's response. If you have time, you just go onto this DuckDuckGo website and you get to see the tall list of response that you get from its API. So we have to sieve it. We're dealing with an application and we want the relevant things. So we just have to list the things that we need and then pull it out, basically. So what it's saying is that it's simply processing the related topics using this, and then it's passing, obviously it's an array. And then what are we doing? We are saying that we want to limit the response of the related topics to the number of results that we're asking for it minus one. This line, what is it doing? Is ensuring that a topic is a dictionary and not a string or any other type. And then the topic, we ensure that there's actual text content that we want to work with. We only want to process text content, not any other thing else. We want to process topics that pass these particular checks. So we're putting in things, the requirements that we need from the response that we're going to get from DuckDuckGo API response. Let's continue coding. So next, if we get a text, which is the topic is a dictionary, and then the topic, we have text within it, what do? We're going to give it to our results. We're going to append it to our results array like we did earlier. The title, we're going to see if the topic dot get contains a title. It contains the text, first of all. If it doesn't contain that, we just pass an empty string. And if it does, we want to slice it to only 50 characters. And then we just do our plus that we've been doing here, 1, 2, 3, to indicate that there is more to add. The next one is the snippets. We're saying the topic.get. Then again, also doing the same thing. We're asking if there's text in there. If there's text, it should give it to us. If not, it should give us an empty string. And here, since we want a snippet of the response, we're looking for more characters, 200 characters. Plus, this just to indicate that there's more going on. We have the link, topic.get, first URL. Let me see if I'm typing this correctly now. This is first URL. And then we need to cite the source. And what is our source? We're using DuckDuckGo. So whatever you're giving us, we're saying that we're getting the source from DuckDuckGo. Now, after all this, if we don't get results, that's if our results remains empty as we defined it, what do? We're going to append results.append. See title, append an object. And then we see for our title, we say that the search results for, we just pass the query that we asked of it. For our snippet, we would say found search query about, we just pass this search query there. More detailed results may require additional search APIs. This is just a fallback. You can coin your response any way you want. So the link is saying Just going to pass this DuckDuckGo link. And add these query parameters. Query.replace. All right. And then our source, my bad. Then our source, obviously, duck, go, duck, go. What you're seeing here, this is just from Python, guys. Nothing special. And when we're done, what do? We have to return our results. And after returning, we need to, since it's a try, we need to catch the exception, exception, RC. And then what we do, we print. Just copy this. We print that duck, go search failed. We pass the error that we get. And then what do we return? We return an array, object array with our title, search. I'm going to pass this query. Our snippet. Let me just copy and paste this. It's taking a bit of time from the code that I'm writing. Why is this complaining? Okay. I see that. Not to worry. So I fall back. We'll leave this. So we're good. In order to speed up this code, I'm just going to type as fast as I can and explain later when I'm done with this. Try to explain as quickly as possible. Query. What do I want my query tag to be? It should be a string. Search results should be of type list. A dictionary, str, any. And what do I want it to do? I want it to return me a string. This is a pointer. And what am I going to do? I'm going to try the response here. This is the context that I'll be passing to it. Here are the search results. To the next line. For I results, we enumerate going within the search results. Going to add to our context the string. So all I'm doing here is that I'm just trying to create a format in which the result is going to give us in the terminal. All this is basic formatting. All this will probably go if we should have a front end to this particular code. Let me know in the comment section below, guys, if you want a video where I'm implementing front end in order to make this particular build more beautiful. Do you prefer? And if you want a front end, let me know. Do you prefer Angular? Do you want us to be using Angular, or you're going for the React? React for our JavaScript libraries to use for front end. Here I'm going to say result snippet. Let me close this string. Context. My source. Where's my source coming from? Next line. Next line. And this is where the beauty are. We're going to create a beautiful prompt. This is where all our prompt engineering prowess come in. If you don't know about prompt engineering, I do have a video on this channel on prompt engineering. Check it out, how you can engineer your prompts to get the best response from language models. But this we're using just a simple prompt. Helpful. So I'm going to say that you are a helpful AI assistant. Based on the following search results, provide a comprehensive and accurate answer to the user's question. This is just to prompt the language model to do the best it should. No, it still does whatever it wants to do in the end, but this also helps. This at least makes it, follow a particular order. I wouldn't say that, just because sometimes it hallucinates, don't prompt engineer properly. Prompt engineering is very, very important. It helps a lot as to how your language model is going to behave. So yes, please go check out the prompt engineering video and then build better prompts so you can get better responses. So our user query, we're going to be passing the query there. We have our context that we got here. We're passing it here so it knows what to do exactly when giving us a response. And then we're going to give it some instructions in this prompt. We're going to say that please provide. Yeah, some cook said we should avoid using please. But I don't know. I feel very awkward not adding please when I'm requesting for something. So let me just leave it there. You can feel free to remove the please, guys. Was this Sam? No, it's Sam Altman, the guy, the open AI guy. Yeah, he advised that whenever we're querying all these chats, we should avoid the please. But I mean, for this is a very small build, so guys, I think we can overlook that. So the first we want to provide, we're saying please provide a well-structured response that one, directly answers. You see, we're telling it to, we've already told it here that it needs to give comprehensive, accurate answers to the user's question. But when we're also doing this, we also have to repeat it. Repetition, as they say, is emphasis. So directly answer, which directly answers the user's question. 2, synthesizes, my bad. synthesizes, okay, hope it's correct. Synthesizes information from the search results, mentions sources, very important when relevant, so we don't have any copyright issues. 4 is clear and easy to understand. 5 acknowledges if information is limited or uncertain. This is very important, guys, to give these types of instructions to the language model, especially if you're building this simple web search for, let's say, for research purposes. If you're a research engineer, you're doing a PhD, and like every day before you start your research stuff, you have this simple application where it gives you certain responses. These type of instructions are very key to avoid all kinds of possible copyright issues. Okay, so now that we have our prompt ready, what do? We're simply going to return. We're going to we say our response is equal to self dot model dot generate content, where we're passing this prompt. So we're going to call this particular generate content. I think I've not created that function yet. So I'm going to create a function. The model, no, we don't need to create a function since we're using the model. So it's coming from our Gemini model. Within it has a function called generate content, and we're passing this prompt to it. And then it's going to give us a response here. And when that is done, what do? We're going to return the response dot text, because it's going to come in an object and we want it to give us, not everything is returned, and it should give us only the text in that. After that, what do? We have our exception. We catch any exceptions in this particular call. We say return. Just going to copy and paste this one. What am I saying? Says that the error generating response. Here are the new raw search results. Join the title, the snippet for our search results. Basically that. Now we're done with this function. We're getting to the end of this. Our last function that we're going to define here is our search and answer function. It will be done soon, guys. As usual, we need to pass a query of type string and num results. And it's equal to 5. What do we want? We want a dictionary string any. What do we do here? Here we're just going to do simple stuff. Just going to print stuff here. Since we're dealing in the terminal, just to make our everything we're doing more, a bit of beauty in our terminal. So we're saying print this searching for. Oh, what's going on here? This should be correct. Expected, got none instead. Expected the dictionary, not to worry. I will go into the dictionary that you're looking for. Now we have our search results is equal to. What's going on? Oh, okay. Indentation is very important in Python, so just so you know, very, very important indentation. So this is where I made a mistake. This function, You see the errors I'm having here is simply because of indentation. This is supposed to be in line with this simply because of indentation, guys. In Python, you realize that there are no terminations here, like in JavaScript where you just add the semicolon. My bad. You'll be adding the semicolon to end a particular line, a particular, instruction you're giving. When you write any code, a semicolon terminates that particular line. In Python, it uses indentation. So indentation is very, very key. Else you'll be seeing a lot of errors in your response. Okay. In your application. So self.search web. Yes. Self.search web. We're going to pass the query and then the num results. And we're going to print that we found. Why are you complaining? Okay, I didn't close this one. So we're going to print that we found these number of results. And then the next one is, this is just for searching the web, guys. Let me just add this comment so it makes more sense. This is to search the web. Now we're going to go into our AI response, generate AI response. And we'll just have this print saying that print generating AI response. And say AI response is equal to self.generate response. What am I passing the query? And then my search results. So here, I'm calling this function to give me the AI response. I return. So this is where you realize that when I added a return, now the dict, let me remove this because it's expecting, I'm saying that this particular function is returning a dictionary. It's not seeing any dictionary in my function. So it's still going to, have this set expected dictionary got none instead. So when I add this code return a dictionary, it stops crying. So query, search results, AI response, timestamp. This is where we use the time, the date time library that we imported. So we say date time dot now give it as the date time in ISO format. All right. So we are done with our class for this. Yeah, it's a lot, guys. I know it's a lot. I think I didn't even make use of this DAC2Go, but anyway, because I need the API and all that. That's a lot. Let's just ignore this function for now because I didn't use it anywhere here. Let's just ignore it for now. So in my main function, this is where we're going to be calling our class. We're going to be dealing with our APIs that you saw, and then you can understand how this is going. I think I need to add the code for how I use DAC2Go. But then again, for now, I think the build has been a bit long, so I'm just going to ignore DAC2Go. But then I will create another video where I'm going to show you how I implemented I got the APIs for DAC2Go and then made use of them here. So for now, let's just go with this particular one. So here to say Gemini API key, this particular thing that I'm doing here can actually be done at the top. It's not necessary, but I'm just leaving it here. So it's nice to have it here. So what is this doing? This OS is going to this particular env file and it's going to get this key. Google, you see, it pops here, Google API key. One of the beauties of IntelliSense. So it gives me exactly what I'm looking for. So for the Gemini API key, I named it a Google API key. So it simply gives me the list of what's in the env file, and then I pick what I want. Now this is where I need to set my API keys. I'm doing that here. So the next one is the optional, the Google custom search API credentials for better search results. This is why I ignore the DuckDuckGo APIs, because we have Google also doing the search for us. But I purposely left the DuckDuckGo code here so that when you get an opportunity, you get the DuckDuckGo API keys, you can write code on how to use it. And it's pretty simple to implement it. If you have any challenges, just let me know in the comment section below. So the next one is my Google Search API key. And this will go into os.get.env. And what do I need? I need Google Search API key from here. The next one I need is my search engine, Google Search, Google Search Engine ID. Give us the os.get.env, and what do we need? We need our Google Search Engine ID. Oh, my bad. Google Search Engine ID. Okay, perfect. So now we have our various IDEs, our various API keys that we'll be using. The next step is always the try and the catch, so that we have, if there's any fault with our API keys, we catch it and we do not break our code, and it allows also with better debugging. So here our agent, we're going to call our web search agent class here. As you see that when I typed it, you got the one usage popping here. So web search agent. So now I'm going to pass all the things that I gave to its parameters. All these parameters, Gemini API key, search API key, search engine ID. I'm going to pass all these parameters here. So the first one was Gemini API key is equal to Gemini API key. Search API key is equal to Google Search API key. We have the search engine ID will give us Google Search Engine ID. So these are the things that we need. These are the API keys that we're passing to this particular class for everything that we need. Let me just catch except here, my bad. Except exception as E, and then I will do exception as E. So now I go into here and I say, going to print, I'm going to create an interactive search loop. Okay. Let me just add this comment to show that I want to create an interactive search loop. So first, what will I do? I'm going to print the next line is equal to 50. These are just things that I want to print just to make my whatever we're doing here clean and nice. So here I'm just saying that web search AI agent is ready. Type your questions or quit to or type quit to exit, since we're dealing with the terminal, just to have a beautiful feel. So now I'm going to write our loop here. So while true, so while this everything going on here is true, what do? We say query is equal to input dot strip. We're just saying access anything. And we're saying that if the query dot lower, we want to put our query in lowercase. If whatever the query is, if I'm typing quit in my query, or I'm typing exit, or I'm typing queue, this is just a way of stopping the LLM not to, do anything. We simply print goodbye and then we break. And what do? We break the loop. Now, if not query, we simply continue to the next thing that we want to do. Now I'm adding another try here where I'm saying that the result is equal to the agent dot search and answer, where I'm going to pass the query. The rest of this is just to, have a better view of our print. That's all. So here I'm saying that I should try, if everything, all this, we've gone past all these ifs, we come here and we try and we're saying that agent dot, because this we're now coming here. So while we're in the true, while everything is going on well, there's no break, there's no error coming from this particular class, everything is fine. We're simply saying that agent dot, it should go to this function search and answer whilst it's passing this query. If you remember this particular search and answer, passing this query, we already gave initialize this num results to 5, so we don't have to add this. If you want to change it, you're allowed to change the number of results here. So here I'm just passing the query and then I'm saying that I'm printing AI response just to add a bit of interactivity to it. It should print 30 of this dash and then it should give us the response from the AI. Simple to put, yeah, simple stuff. And then the next thing we're going to be doing is going to print extra stuff for the next. So here we're going to say whilst, so this is giving us the AI response, and this will say that search results use here to write this loop. I'm used to this parenthesis because of JavaScript anyway. Search result in enumerate result search results. What does this particular code mean? I'm simply saying that this is, I don't know, why is this complaining? Search what might be referenced before assignment. I'm not typing something correctly here. Yeah, I knew it. I wasn't typing this thing correctly. I'm missing an S here. Search results, but it's still complaining. That's this is supposed to be in. Okay. So here, what am I saying? That simply because my bad. I'm simply explaining that for this particular loop, yeah, guys, I'm a little tired. For this particular loop, I'm saying that it should simply loop and print out our search results starting from one. We're not starting from any zero or anything. We're starting from one. Simply that's what the code means. So what am I going to print? I'm printing starting with the index number, starting with one, just to make it look nice and clean. Search result, the title, print, search result, the link. And after this, what do? We're going to print some dashes, just to make our output clean. Nothing special. So after this, if this is not it, what do? We simply print the error results. If this try doesn't work out, we print the error result. I need to find out why this is crying here. Let me go through my code properly. So search results in enumerate, results, search results starting from one, print. I search results starting from title, print. This is good. This is okay. Let's go up. What am I missing here? AI response. This is okay. This is okay. This is okay. Where is this error coming from? Oh, because this try doesn't have an exception. Oh, my bad. This exception is not for this one, for sure. Because this try doesn't have an except. Except exception as E. Yeah. So now I'm going to go down here and then print my exceptions. Just to make this faster. Just going to print my exceptions. Copy and paste from my code. And print my exceptions here. So I'm saying fail to initialize agent. Make sure to one, install insured packages. So I'm showing it how to install it. This is not it. Either way, they're all the same. Request, set your Gemini API key and all these things. Make sure your API key is coming from here. But based on the video I showed you guys, you can ignore this. Just make sure this particular print is not necessary. So after all this, how do we get this to run? We simply call our initialization in Python. This is very, very important. So basically this one is simply, this is an automatic variable that is set by Python. And here I want to call this main function, which handles everything. And what am I saying? I'm saying that, let me just add this is the right way to write it. Simply call my main function and execute the code. Just Python syntax. Okay. So as you can see, the arrow came here, which shows that this is the main entry point to this particular code. So now that we have all our code ready, everything is ready. Let's tap. Let's try it. Why is it complaining? Variable should be lowercase. So yeah, right. I'm choosing to write this in uppercase. That's not a problem by you. Okay, so now let's go into the beauty of this. Okay, now so let's test this. I noticed something that the model that I was using was not doing very well. So I changed it to Gemini 2.5 Flash. This actually worked for me. So key thing to note, always click on when we're generating, you remember guys, when we're generating the API key, always click the link to view the usage of the API key so you can see the model that is associated with that. Don't look at the generated code. What do I mean by that? I'm going to show you guys very soon. Don't look at, you see that generated code, don't look at it. Just click on that particular link to view the API instructions in order to see what is the best thing to do. Okay. So it showed me that the Gemini 2.5 Flash is the best one for this particular API. So let's test our application. So we just do Python main.py. And as you can see, it's telling me that ask me anything. What is going on here? It's simply starting from here. So first it gave me all these equal to lines. This line here, web search agent, AI agent ready, type your questions or quit to exit. So here, so I'm here. Ask me anything. This is where I'm at. So it's expecting a response from me. So I'm going to ask it. Let me make this big so we can see properly. What are the 7 wonders of the world? And so we're going to say searching for. Let me go up so we can go back. Searching for. This is where it's at. Searching for what are the 7 wonders of the world. Now this goes here. Ask me anything. Now, if this is true, this doesn't contain this. So this particular will not run because my question didn't involve quit, exit, or queue. And my query was true. So it continued here and then it went to this function, agent search answer query, which is this one. Search answer query. And then as you can see here, search for what are the 7 wonders of the world. That is the query that we added to it. And what did it tell us? It found, from here we can see, 5 results because that's what we gave it here. Generating AI response, and this is the AI response. There are 2 main lists commonly referred to when discussing the 7 wonders of the world. The historic ancient wonders and the more recently designated 7 wonders. This list was chosen through a global campaign launched, blah, blah, blah. And you can see it gives us the 7 wonders. The Great Wall of China, Chichen, sorry if I didn't pronounce it well, the Petra, the Machu Picchu, Christ the Redeemer in Brazil, and the Taj Mahal, the Colosseum, and the Taj Mahal, the Colosseum, my bad guys. Now this one also gives us the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It also gives us these details. And then it tells us the search results used. So it also gives us the sources because we asked it to cite sources. Very, very important. Now here again, it's telling us here that the historic list comprises remarks, construction, blah, blah, blah. And this is telling us that this is coming from Reddit. They include all these things. And then it's also telling us that the search results used, that are the sources. And then it tells you, ask me anything. So this interface here, we can actually create a UI, a beautiful UI to show this properly. But this is what we have for now. So this is basically what an AI agent does. This is a simplified form of an AI agent. This is a single agent. And what is it doing? It's first receiving questions, it's searching, and then it's giving you responses based on it. And then it's trying to make sense of the response of it. You see here, it's explaining things. It says that the historic list comprises remarkable constructions from antique, most of which no longer exist today, with the Great Pyramid of Giza being the sole exception. Then it tells you where it got it from Reddit. And it gives you, they include, you understand. So this gives you the 7 new wonders. It's just giving you extra information. Then it tells you where it got the information, sources and all that. compared to a chatbot where you just ask, what are the seven wonders of the world? And the chatbot will just list it. Sometimes it cites sources, sometimes it doesn't. But this is giving you how an AI agent in a web search project, how it looks like. So that's basically it for now. Let me know, guys, in the comment section below if you would like me to explain any part of this code. I will add a link to this code onto my GitHub repository so you can have access to it and then play along. AI agents are what is new in terms of AI for 2025. If you're wondering what's AI, what's the next thing in AI for 2025? For 2025, I would say AI agent is what's booming now. And you can use it for your day-to-day activities. Try to play with it to to make your work efficient. Like I said, if you're a research agent, you're working on a PhD, you're doing research, you can write a very simple code like this, so you can have daily, you can have a list of things to retrieve and all that. This is a code version. So I'm going to try to create, there's a platform called N8N. It's a beautiful platform where you use graphics, use components in a platform to also build AI. You can also use it for to build an AI agent instead of hard coding like this. But this is what I have for you guys now. Drop it in the comment section below what you would like to see next on this channel in terms of AI or in anything you want to know. Let me know in the comment section below. Have a wonderful day and see you in our next video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, click on the notification bell so you're notified anytime we upload. Talk Tech Culture. See you guys. Ciao. Wait, and if you want to quit, you just do this. You can see goodbye, and then we're done.